Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to Anfield's Agenda, the first show that is being hosted by your boy James. I'm proud to be joined, not by myself for the first show that I'm hosting individually, where it's not Craig. I'm proud to be joined by a huge deal. The TikTok sensation that is Mr. Paddy Murphy. Paddy, lads, I just said it before, this is the first time we're having a proper conversation. It's a show together. I'm feeling like it's going to go well, but how are you, my mate?
James, pleasure to finally have a chat with you. The
Lovely.
The Scouse sensation himself. We got a bit of Scouse, a bit of Irish. The Scouse Irish Alliance, you know what I mean? It goes back a long time, so
I've got the Irish in my blood, Paddy. Yeah, I've got the Irish in my blood.
Accent that is, mate. That's not too bad.
I'm not gonna lie, not to lick asses for the start of the show. Yours isn't too bad either. Your Scouse accent, just to be dead honest. Like honestly, it's brilliant. Subscribe. And all that other good stuff to Anfield's Agenda. The content is coming out of our asses every single day. You see the work rate from Craig. Now I'm here to help along just a little bit that I can. It might take a little bit of getting used to. That being said, we should be all good. Like I said, I've got great company today. Loads to delve into though, Paddy. For what has been, you know, a international break, you do not tend to see these be very, very active and stuff like that. There's been quite a few scares in terms of minor injuries, some more serious injuries, and one of those was from Andrew Robertson, who is reported to be out of the Arsenal game, according to Paul Joyce. I'd love to know your thoughts on the amount of because I haven't spoke to you about this, so I'm sure Craig has said to you, but what about the amount of international breaks? It's kind of like another kid getting to use your toys, breaks them, and then gives you it back. Do you know what I mean? Gives you it back, and it's just like, it's not fair. So I'd love to know your thoughts on the amount of international breaks where we're playing bin men.
Sorry, what is going on
In
here?
and out,
Sorry,
Paddy, you are back, baby. You are back. Let's just roll with it. Did you hear me question?
Yes, I did. Sorry, yeah. So international break, what do I make of it? Sorry about that. Gee, typical. Not to see.
Not a problem.
But no, it's been a bit much. The international breaks have been a bit excessive. Thankfully, there's not one now till March, but it's just the international teams don't seem to care. I know, like, the players are their nationality first and foremost, but Liverpool pay the bills. You know, there's a duty of care they have, and they just don't care. Like, Andy Robertson plays every second for Scotland, when even in games where he might not even need to play. So it's just really frustrating, and we always seem to get the bad end of it as well. So it's really frustrating.
He plays every second for us as well. He plays mega games of football, and he will be out for this game. And Paul Joyce has said that the injury isn't too serious, but Liverpool will be cautious and not make sure not to play him in this game. Plus, we've got an adequate replacement in Tsimikas, who's most likely going to take his place. I'd like to know, do you think that's a good enough replacement for this game? Do you think he can thrive against Arsenal? And do you think he'll do a good job like he did with his team on his international break?
Well, in all honesty, James, before the injury, I was calling for Costas to be starting anyway. I feel like
you're already at the point where you want Robertson dropped.
I don't want him dropped per se because he's done so well, but I just think
even
there's
if
it's
temporarily.
Yeah, even just just give him a game out. Let him know that Costas is right there. Just keep him on top of his game. I think that's very important in a top level team. You need to have a good backup, and I think Costas has been great in the games he's played this season. Like, being dropped indefinitely is a bit tough, but I feel like just drop him for a game, let Costas come in, and then let him come back in with the knowledge that he's not 100% and he needs to perform. That's what I wanted to see.
I couldn't agree more, you know, Paddy. I think most of the chat would agree as well, because one thing I feel as at least the Liverpool fans who want the best for our team, we want to compete on all fronts. We want to compete in all competitions. How do you compete in all competitions? Well, City have got the roadmap on how you do it, how you win multiple League Cups, FA Cups, not necessarily Champions Leagues. That's more our business. That being said, they win more trophies than what we do, even if they're not as prestigious, and that's because of their squad. Tsimikas is played 6 games this season. He's won 6 times in a Liverpool shirt, and he's had 6 clean sheets. An unbelievable return. And the one thing that I agree with you on in terms of rotating the left backs and why it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's not a bad thing because people think it'll ruin the cohesion of the squad. You've just said it himself. Robertson plays week in, week out, has done for 4 seasons, also for his country, by the way. And you've got to look at styles. We're in a league where every team has got at least 2 or 3 threatening players. You know, maybe not Norwich, but everyone else besides Norwich, they've all got at least 2 or 3 decent players where you think, you know what, they can cause us a problem, regardless how poor the tactics are. Therefore, you need to change it up. I thought in the West Ham game that Tsimikas would have been perfect for that result, but that's just me, and I do not know anything about football. Jurgen Klopp gets it way more right than I do. Minuscule IQ compared to him, for sure. But in that game, I just think, against the low block, which isn't how West Ham usually play, but even not to bring him on in the 60th minute and try and get that element of creativity, the more efficient delivery that Tsimikas has to offer, opposed to Robertson, because I do believe he's got better crossing attributes and stuff like that. I think Robertson's maybe a bit more sought out offensively, but in a game where you're going to monopolise possession, the only way you can break West Ham down in that game is by putting balls into the box to Diogo Jota. Tsimikas would have been perfect, and like you said, flawless performances from him so far. I think he's been great, and in terms of competition, we're very strong in near enough every position at the back. The only one that's always up for question is right back. Our backup right back being Neco Williams, who, which I must add, he's really impressed me recently. He done well against Preston when he played, when he came on in that game, or did he start that game? He also got like an assist or two, I believe.
Two, I think.
Played great. Nearly got a goal at the end as well. He just played left wing back for Wales. I'm wondering, Paddy, in your mind, is there a possibility that Klopp could exercise that option?
I don't think so. I think very harsh on Costas if that was ever the case. You know, like I can't imagine. But listen, Neco has impressed. You know, at the back end of last season, you know, when we had that when he was playing, I wasn't his biggest fan. You know, he frustrated me a lot. But this season, in his little cameos, he's been very solid, to be honest. On that game against Preston, albeit Preston, he still looked dangerous. And you know, that's even maybe like Trent doesn't need to play every single week. If you know, players need a break too. I don't want to see Trent drop, but maybe there's no harm in giving Neco a game here and there, maybe against the lesser sides.
Well, do you know what? Hold that thought, because I do want to keep on talking about Neco. Bill's just said, is Craig still in bed? No, he's not. This is just a show that me and Paddy are going to do on a weekly basis. But again, I understand that it's going to take a little minute or two to get used to over time. But we're going to smash it out, Paddy. We're going to smash it out the park. We're going to bring the energy. With Neco Williams, though. Yeah, of course. What's his name? Darren Farley, is that his name? I want to make sure to say it right. Oh, mate, he's perfect at that. We've also got an accent off, that's very due. But staying on Neco Williams, is that there was even suggestions that was going around on Twitter and stuff like that, that when Mane goes to the AFCON and say, you know, Bobby Firmino's out till mid-December, Salah's not going to be there, that Neco Williams could play as a more offensive option and maybe even play in that role when we're deciding to rotate. I'd like to know your thoughts on that, because one thing about all of our fullbacks, and I'm talking about all four of them, they do seem to be stronger going forward than what they are defensively. I don't know what you think about that.
That's very true. I think, yeah, for sure. This season, I think Robertson's nearly been better defensively than going forward, which is kind of the opposite of what it usually is. But I agree. Listen, you know, Neco Williams, I like him and all, but if we're in a position where we have to play him at left wing instead of Sadio Mane, I just think that's indicative to the lack of depth we have going forward, which again, we've always harped on about in the summer, and it's just why we need to do some business in January. Listen, Neco Williams, great player, but like, he's not a left winger. So if we have to lose Sadio Mane and then the next best option is Neco Williams, a right back at left wing, I think that tells you all you need to know about the lack of depth we have up front.
Who would you replace? So when Mane goes, because we're on that topic now, when Mane goes and Salah goes, what's your front three as it reads?
Mane, okay, so, Jesus, I'm playing Jota on the left.
Yes.
Firmino in the middle.
Firmino's going to be out till mid-December, so I'm assuming, I'm only going to guess that he's going to miss maybe one or two of those games. So just as it stands right now, no Firmino, no Mane, and no Salah.
Jota on the left, Minamino on the right, and fucking
it's a bit of a tough one, isn't it?
Oh my God, Origi's like though, isn't he?
You're returning to the basement. Well, actually, I've saw reports that Origi's going to be okay for this game. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Chat, feel free to correct me for sure. Yeah. That being said, I have saw reports that Origi's going to be just about fine, and he's not going to start anyway, so he's only going to come off the bench. It's Minamino, Origi, and yeah, so a dead leg. Thank you for confirming that, Connor. A dead leg from Origi. And it was just precaution to take him off, which, you know what, I'm going to give a little bit of credit to the international teams. Gareth Southgate for sending Jordan Henderson back opposed to keeping him for precautionary reasons, and that's actually worked out. A lot of players have came out unscathed. It's only really Robertson, which, if you really think about it, it's probably one of the positions in the squad that you're okay with losing, because you've got Tsimikas to come in and fill in, and a lot of people have wanted to see Tsimikas. If he comes in, you never know, you could see a type Nathaniel Klein and Trent Alexander-Arnold, where the younger player overtakes the more experienced international who plays week in, week out. It's a sad and daunting thought, because we all love Robertson, but we love competition more, and we want to play players for the fact they're playing well. As for the front three, I agree with you, Paddy. Just in terms of the depth, I can't believe that Liverpool, and certain Liverpool fans, I'm not talking about the chat's brilliant, and a lot of people that I speak to, they seem to have the common sense, but even when you see neutral fans talking about we've got kind of an old squad and stuff like that, I don't agree with the notion as much, but we do need squad depth. That can't be denied. And if you want to go and compete on all fronts, if Origi and Minamino is your best options, then I'm just not too sure. Even though Origi's been looking like an absolute machine recently. Curtis Jones has played as a left wing, so that could also be an option that we exercise in terms of going forward. Harvey Elliott's going to be back soon. He's back in training, but of course, I don't expect him to be there December. There'll be options, but are they the best possible options that we could have? I think that's what me and Paddy are trying to say. Speaking of Curtis Jones, he's out for a few more weeks with his eye injury. There'll be no long-lasting damage to his vision. That's according to Jim Mixon, who's the LFC club doctor. Good to hear, but also still not ideal that he's going to be missing the next few games, Paddy.
No, like he's having a good bit of form. He's a great player on his day, and he just provides something different in the midfield when sometimes you might have a more defensive-minded midfielder. He just provides that little bit of flair going forward. Listen, who isn't injured, really? We need to get a list of who's fit, never mind who's injured. It's crazy. Like, but I feel like I don't think we'll ever have as bad as last year when the centre-backs just got attacked like they did. I think
we're in November,
kind of
Paddy. Just to play devil's advocate, we're in November. And it was more around December and January was where the injuries really started to kick in last season.
I really hope it's as bad as it gets now. I couldn't handle it. I think we're well versed in most places, but like the fact we're talking about the front three there and our AFCON front three, who they could be, it's kind of grim. It is like you're not like Minamino, Origi, and Jota on the.
Oh. He gone for a second, but he'll be back. He gone for a second, but he'll be back. Whoop, whoop. Paddy, don't you worry about it, my son. I'll carry the stream like friggin' Salah has been carrying Liverpool this season. As for the injuries, I'll even talk about the other injury news that's available. Paul Joyce confirms that Henderson and Sadio Mane, the greatest player in the world, is expected to be available for that game. Origi is also available. Again, that was just a dead leg. Milner and Kate Gordon are back in for that fixture. So, are also back, so they've had their fair share of injuries. So do you know what, Paddy, as I'm going through this list that Connor has so kindly set out for us, mate, we're not looking as bad as maybe we're thinking. There's a lot of short-term injuries when you look at our list, so maybe you're right.
Yeah, well, there's no real bad ones, and obviously said you have Harvey Elliott coming in. I think we're doing okay, we're surviving.
Thiago's just came back as well. That's another option. He was back for the West Ham game.
How long do we have for? How long is Keita out for? Do we know?
I think that's unsure. That's something that the club haven't confirmed. The only ones that you know is going to be longer term is Naby Keita and Firmino. But Firmino's back in December.
Yeah, I think we can survive without Firmino, but I really miss Naby. I think he was doing some serious business in that midfield. We're surviving as of now, so thank God there's been no really severe ones like we did have last year with Virgil. So we're surviving, but I'm very worried about that AFCON period massively.
Speaking of AFCON, Aubameyang might actually, he could be missing this game. He was stretchered off for Gabon, and he also missed their game against Egypt in the week. So he's in a little bit of a race of time to be fit for Saturday. That's interesting, very interesting, because even though Aubameyang is not the necessarily main man, when you look at Arsenal and who they're praising and the players, it's Saka, it's Emile Smith-Rowe. Even Arsenal fans have been shouting for Lacazette more so recently. Aubameyang, over time, he's became less of the pace merchant, and he's always had more to his game, but now he's adapting his game to where he cuts in on his right hand side a lot. He likes to create space for other players. Do you think that's a big deal that he's out for this game? Does that make you significantly more confident that Arsenal probably aren't going to score? Are they losing one of their main goal scorers in this game?
I think maybe a couple of years ago I'd be more worried about, would have been more worried about Aubameyang himself. But I feel like they have a lot more endangerment this time, like Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka. I think I'd rather, if anyone's going to be out at our Emile Smith-Rowe, he seems to be in the form of his life. He's scoring, assisting, he's doing the business. Aubameyang, I don't know, he's kind of hot and cold. They still have Lacazette, who's still a top player. Listen, we should, no matter who they have, I think we still should be beating them. But I'm just, there's a little worry there because they've been in such good vein of form.
No, do you know what? That's the thing that you've just said. They're in good form, but it's more the team. You don't look at Aubameyang and think he's the one carrying Arsenal. Shout out to T-Boys TV, great channel, go subscribe. Even he's just said that Aubameyang has not been in great form recently. He hasn't been bagging the goals. Probably doing slightly better than last season, but he was pulling up bad stinkers. Like, if you thought Mane was bad last year, Aubameyang was terrible. It was like it was a shadow of his former self. It's very, very strange. When you look at Arsenal, because we might as well talk about that game, it's a huge game amongst the weekend, one that we absolutely must win, especially with the recent results. You know, who is your biggest threat in that game? Because if it's not Aubameyang, are you looking more at the youngsters? Are you worried about their defence that has improved over the weeks?
I mean, they have a very solid defence now with Tomiyasu, Ben White, Tierney and all on the left. But Emile Smith-Rowe, he's their danger man. But Arsenal have just, Arteta has kind of ridden a wave of criticism and proved himself to really steady that Arsenal ship. And like Arsenal were getting dogs abuse, people saying relegation. Like our AFTV has made them a banter club in terms of everyone wants them to be shite. But they're actually been solid. You know what I'm saying?
Let's put all the blame on AFTV. It's their fault. It's their fault.
yeah. Why not? But no. Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka, that's there. Aubameyang, as you said, had put so many stinkers in last year. He's their captain, isn't he? He wouldn't inspire me as a younger player. He's a big man child, really, isn't he? Like wearing the masks and all this shit. I know it's a bit of crack, but
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but not as a captain.
Dead funny.
Yeah, it is a bit of crack, but
that's Arsenal. That's Arsenal's choice to make him captain. It's like Man United's choice to make Harry Maguire. He might not be the best shooter, but if it's not Aubameyang, who do you choose? Like, with all due respect, like they haven't got no one. Granit Xhaka. If he was my captain, I'd be devastated. Do you remember when Granit Xhaka was doing all this to the Arsenal fans? That's not what I want my captain to represent. I'd rather someone be a little bit more goofy. I just think he's the best of a bad bunch with the most experience. I assume that's why he's captain.
Perhaps maybe Ben White could be down the line looking at
possibly.
He seems very solid. Like
Ramsdale's becoming a fan favourite slowly and surely. So you never know, mate. Hey, that's another player because even out of all the chat, they're talking about Smith-Rowe, they're talking about all these other players. But what about Aaron Ramsdale? I think there's a debate this season that because just simply for the fact he's made no mistakes, he's got a worse defence in front of him. Some would say he's in better form than Alisson. He's really saved them points. I'm not saying he's a better goalkeeper, just absolutely want to clarify before people smash the dislike button and tell me to do one after my first show. Nowhere near Alisson's level, but he is in a rich frame of form, and that's something that you can be concerned about when, yes, we've got Salah, who's boss, and yes, we've got Mane, who's boss, but against slightly higher opposition, is that something to worry about?
It is really intriguing. Like the prospect of Arsenal is so different now to what it was a couple of months ago. And Ramsdale has been in the form of his life. And don't get me wrong, I feel like that save he made was completely overplayed. I think it was a great save, but like it was his bad positioning that made it look better, if you know what I mean. I feel like young Irish goalkeeper Gavin Bazunu made a save in the week against Luxembourg, and much better save. I don't know if you've seen it, but wow. Listen, Arsenal I wouldn't say a scary prospect, but I'm not like expecting us to smash Arsenal. I think it's going to be a tough game that we should win, but we have no divine right to. We can't just expect to win because we're the better team. We have to work for this win, and I hope Mo can get back into the goal scoring form and get a cheeky goal.
Well, it's actually funny that you've just said that because Hayden just said, James, do you think that Salah is on a drought? And I want to touch on that question. But first, a very lovely super chat from Aidan Z. First of all, thank you so much for the super chat. It helps the channel more than you think. And it goes on to say, hats off to the boys, looking more comfortable every time you're on coming on the shows, both being a great addition to the team. Just wanted to say, welcome. How lovely is the Anfield Agenda community, more specifically Aidan in this case. Thank you for the super chat, my mate. And them words mean a lot. Really eases us into the show, so it honestly means more than you think. Going back to Hayden's question, do you think Salah is on a drought? Now, to say that a drought, I think that would be absolutely ludicrous, but I think over the past 4 games, Mane has probably been the more better attacker. 4 games, not season, and it is just 4 games. They've just been out on international duty. Mane got a slight injury and whatnot. But do you think, because Salah is allowed an off day, and if he does have an off day, he's still the best player in the Premier League at the moment. He's still got 16 goal contributions. I think the one closest in the league is Vardy with 9.
Yeah.
What do you think, Paddy, about that statement?
Well, I think only Mohamed Salah could even have the word drought mentioned after 4 games without scoring. That shows
the expectations.
Him being so good. Yeah. It's not
boss.
a drought at all. Yeah, I'm not worried about Mohamed Salah not scoring. Like, don't get me wrong, it would have been nice if you could have had a masterclass against West Ham. But like, he's not a robot. He's human. You know, he's had a good week away with a couple weeks away with Egypt. He got a lovely assist there, I think, in one of the games. Listen, I'm not worried. I think Salah likes scoring against Arsenal as well. He's had a good time against Arsenal since he came to the Premier League. So if I was a betting man, and maybe I am, Salah scoring, I'm nearly sure of it. But I'm not worried about a drought until you hit like 10 games, maybe. Then you could look at a drought.
Yeah, and in his Liverpool career, you're only really looking at one real drought. I think there was a period 2 seasons ago where he didn't score in about 6-7 games. But Mo Salah, he's still getting goals. He's still creating goals. Not to mention he got an assist against West Ham. Yeah, it was the littlest P-roller ever. But he's still getting goal contributions. So whether he's getting assists or whether he's getting goals, happy days for me, to be dead honest with you. I'm devastated that there's no Firmino for this game because he turns up against Arsenal. He tends to look like when prime Firmino is up, he's up against Arsenal. It's a weird fixture. It complements him and the type of player that he is very, very well. Shout out to the fact there's over 300 people in the stream. It'd be great if you could smash a like. Subscribe to Anfield's Agenda and all that business. There's content every single day, all about the great Liverpool Football Club and all much more. The next thing and the last thing that I'd like to talk about before we wrap up the stream is FSG is set to purchase a controlling stake in in an American ice hockey team called Pittsburgh Penguins. Paddy. So the club is valued at around $845 million. That's valued by Sportico, by the way. Also keep in mind that Red Bear Capital Partners purchased a £533 million stake in March. This money could have also had a part to play in making the move possible. What's your thoughts on that one? Because there's obviously been a lack of transfer spending over recent years, just to say the very, very least. And now we're finding out they're going to go ahead and buy a club for 845. May I repeat, 845 one more time for the people in the back who may or may not have heard me. $845 million.
I think we now know where our transfer money's gone. Fucking hell, are you mad?
Fucking Penguins. Why are you
Pittsburgh Penguins, baby?
I'm sure the boss in some way to be worth $845 million.
How is a team with Penguins in their name worth $845 million? That's what I want to know. America's a weird out place.
And he waddles away, waddle till the very next day. Bump, bump. That's FSG with Arto. That's FSG with Arto. It's just like, and he waddles away. It's so heavy, lad. It's unbelievable. Paddy, what's your does that concern you? Does it make you just realise that maybe Liverpool isn't FSG's number one priority?
Unfortunately so. It's not great to hear. If they're spending that much money on a new venture, when they're going to find the time and money to reinvest into Liverpool, maybe they feel like their job at Liverpool is done. They've achieved what they wanted to do. They've made it so much more money. Listen, maybe they're preparing to sell. Who knows? Like maybe if they're acquiring someone else, they have an idea to properly sell up on the Liverpool part. But listen, I don't really care what to do with the money in America as long as if they don't back us in January to do some business. If we don't sign meaningful depth for the forward line in January with the AFCON on, that it cannot be accepted. That is unacceptable, and I'm really worried about that. And this is making me sweat even more.
I agree. And do you want me to tell you why I agree, Paddy? It's because, I think there's a chance that if we don't buy an attacker or a forward in the January window, whether it's a £2 million signing or a loan move, yes, there's suggestions you can use Kate Gordon, but there's no guarantee there. I think, and I'm going to answer that super chat in a sec, by the way, sorry, just because we're kind of getting into this conversation. I think to myself that it would be a travesty if we didn't go out and we didn't make that investment, because you're only giving Liverpool, or you're not giving Liverpool the best possible chance. We got third last season. That was purely off brilliance off Jurgen Klopp and the team. Alisson, Nat Phillips stepping in. A lot of luck. You don't get that. Luck doesn't always strike twice. How many people do you see winning the lottery twice? Very, very few people. Therefore, you're banking on a lot. And in December, where you're going to be playing your most fixtures, you're going to need to score goals, and there's no guarantee we're going to get those goals. So it is definitely concerning. A super chat from Pulisic's personal doctor. I love that name. I absolutely adore that name. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Question for Cecil. Do you think Salah is too old for a big money move to a bigger club, etc.? Madrid and Barca? Are you sure? You just said Chelsea and City. I'll give you Madrid and Barca. They're in the conversation, but Chelsea and City is a bigger club than Liverpool Football Club. You're taking the piss with it. And he's a Chelsea fan, maybe. 29 now, probably too late. What do you think about that, Paddy?
Yeah, I think the Cecil, if you don't know, I have an Irish character called Cecil. That's what that is.
I just knew I weren't Cecil. Yeah. So I put two and two together and was like, right, so he's Cecil, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, well, to answer that, I don't think he's too old. Well, I mean, I hope they view it as that. I don't want him to leave.
Yeah.
But I feel like he either signs a new contract with us, and if we don't give it to him, he probably will look for that big move because, that in his, I wouldn't blame him. We'd need to offer him a new contract. Otherwise, the best clubs in the world will be wanting them. Like, I mean, Barcelona couldn't even be able to sign his daughter, let alone Salah himself. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you'd be looking at probably Madrid or maybe even a Bayern Munich or someone. Listen, I hope that they need to give him. It seems to always come up, but he needs to be offered a contract. It's simple as that. If you look at the money you're going to pay Salah over the duration of the contract you're going to give him, if you triple that price, you will not be able to go out and buy someone to replicate his output, and that's the simplest fact about it. So if they think, oh, I don't know, man, should we give Mohammed? What is he worth that money? Mohammed? Yes, he fucking is, John. Yes, he is, John. Give Mohammed the money now. Seriously, like, give him what he wants. And it's breaking the wage structure. If you're going to break the wage structure, it's for Mohamed Salah. You know what I mean? It's
about time we start acting like, you know what I mean? Like, Manscaped sponsor this channel or not. They're not sponsoring this video. But you've got to show big balls. Do you know what I mean? And with big balls, you need to shave it with a supreme product. And Salah is the supreme product. Yeah. And FSG are the balls, except they're not showing they've got big testicles right now, Paddy.
No, FSG are the dick right now.
They've got minuscule balls, is what we're trying to say. And the thing in FSG's case that not many men can do is enlarge them testicles. Yeah. And just give him the dough. I understand 100%. We've saw many case studies over the seasons. Coutinho, yes, in hindsight, it's worked out beautifully, but he was in his prime when he left, and yet we needed to reinvest, so that one worked out. But then I can mention Luis Suarez leaving in his prime, Torres, which, again, proved to be the right time, but it was more for the money opposed thinking about the long term. Why lose Salah when there's no sign of him slowing down? Because there was a sign of Fernando Torres. Luis Suarez, we weren't ambitious enough to where Suarez wanted to be. There's an argument Suarez is the third greatest player of all time. Just a debate, most assists in history. Of course, he's want to go on and try and win trophies at a Barcelona, who at the time were more prestigious. They were competing for everything. Messi and Neymar. But now, Liverpool have to act as the dog's bollocks. We won the Champions League 2 seasons ago. Premier League just over a season ago. Like, I'm not being funny or nothing. We've got to be ambitious. We've got to keep our big dogs, especially when they're not even arguably at their best. There's a chance Salah can get better. There's a chance he can get smarter. There's a chance he can get more effective, more lethal in front of goal. Yeah. Until I start to see him deteriorate, I want to squeeze every last piece of Egyptian juice out of Mo Salah as possible. And people can clip that up, and that's fine. That is absolutely fine, but you know what I mean.
No, exactly. I think the difference with the Suarez and the Torres, I think at this point, Liverpool are at the peak of their powers. There's no need to sell. Yeah. I think with the Suarez stuff, like, we were such a shite team. It was like just Suarez. I think if the money had been invested properly and not on Mario Balotelli, Ricky Lambert, and fucking Fabio Borini and stuff, well, if he came in before, but you know what I mean. This is different. Like, this is when we are at our peak. There's no real other big clubs. There's no one better than Liverpool, really. If you're a footballer, who's better? Who's going to be more ready to challenge? You know. So Mohamed Salah wants to stay. He said if he could stay for his whole career. And I think even for what he's done already, he deserves that chance to stay. You know, and give him the money. Like, for fuck's sake, John, get your checkbook out. Stop buying penguins over in Pittsburgh and give it to Mohamed Salah. Good man.
Show your bollocks, John. Show your bollocks. Aidan D with another super chat. Thank you very much, my mate. He asks a non-football related question as we're about to close out the show. James Redmond's opinion on Paddy the Baddy. Fantastic. And the one thing that I love about Paddy the Baddy, there's no guarantee he's ever going to become a UFC champion. That being said, he's going to make himself a lot of money. He's a big cash cow for the UFC. He's only going to have big fights as he continues. Yeah. He's got a good enough skill set to be within the top 10. Whether he'll be a champion or not remains to be seen. But as long as he makes a lot of money, as a fellow Scouser Paddy, it's good to see. Do you know what I mean? It's good to see.
As a fellow Paddy...
as a fellow Paddy... Oh my God, Paddy, you are great! Paddy, we are the go-to partnership. We are the go. I am a fellow Scouser and he is a fellow Paddy. Therefore, he still has a right to talk about this.
Exactly. No, listen. I think he's doing the right thing. He's coming in with a McGregor-esque aura. You know that he has the right plan. I think he's made a 6-figure deal with Barstool already. So even if he never becomes a champion, he'll be making the bag, and that's the main thing, isn't it?
Absolutely 100%. Kate, just stating the obvious, be sure to smash a like for all the content that's coming out on Anfield's Agenda. Hopefully me and Paddy have done a sound job.
Hopefully. Apart from my internet. Sorry about that, lads, by the way. I don't know.
It was better for more than what it weren't. Jack Gill came in the other week. If this was with Jack Gill, I'd have been absolutely fingered. He couldn't speak. And he was just stuck. He was in like slow-mo. Like the voice was out of sync. That was bad. What you done today was not as bad. We all have our fair share of moments. Connor's letting us know that we've done a good job.
Thank you very much, Connor. Appreciate that.
We've done a good job.
High
five. A high five.
Are we going?
You know what I mean? One of them ones, mind you.
Bash.
Any closing words before we end the show, bro?
No, listen, I'm looking forward to the game in the weekend. I've enjoyed this. It's been a pleasure to actually converse with you. Shout out to T-Boys, very supportive.
Yes.
And most importantly, thank you to Craig and Connor for this opportunity to collab.
Absolutely.
Maybe some of you might be like, where is the beautiful Lord Craig? But listen, Craig deserves an L break. Stick the feet up, Craig, get the cup on, and manscape.
No, but and Manscaped, WFM20. Again, this is not sponsored, but still, we sponsor most videos. So yeah. No, that's been a great show, Paddy. It was great. Like I said, this was our first show ever together. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward. Same time next week, 6 o'clock on the Tuesday. If any times changes, I'm sure Craig will let you know about that. Thank you very much for tuning into Anfield's Agenda. Be sure to smash a like if you enjoyed, and smash a subscribe if you, for some reason, don't already. Thank you, everyone. Loved it. See you later. Have a marvellous night, and we'll see you soon. Peace.